WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. The phone lines are open. Call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. It's time for Stuart Laser Talk with your host, Dr. Tred J. Rizacker.
I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
A third of Americans are obese, another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes,
Sleep apnea,
Heart disease.
everything's hurting now.
It's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to keep weight off.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
It's not only health, it's about survival and well-being of the United States as a nation.
You don't crave broccoli, and our generation has grown up craving a Big Mac.
I want to think that there's something better for me.
Unless we're able to control this epidemic, we're going to have an abundance of chronic disease.
All of us have to be part of the solution to reduce obesity.
The weight of the nation is out of control, but we can fix that.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price.
Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
Good morning. Why can't I just diet and exercise and look great and feel great again? Why is it so difficult to lose weight? It seems so easier back then. I'm eating better. I've given up all the sodas, the bad carbs, and the sweet, sugary snacks. I'm going to the gym. I'm walking daily. I even hired a personal trainer, and I still cannot get rid of this roll of fat around my midsection. Why is this happening to me? My feet, back, and knees hurt all the time. I suffer from sleep apnea and shortness of breath. I suffer with varicose veins, high blood sugar, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and circulation problems. My dad died from a heart attack when he was only 63. He was obese. My mom has been overweight as long as I can remember. It's affected every part of their life. She had shortness of breath, feet, knee, and back problems. She became type 2 diabetic in her 30s. And by the time she was in her 50s, she had a bilateral neuropathy in both feet. She had a simple ingrown toenail on her left foot that progressed into a full-blown infection that would not heal. She tried everything. But due to the high blood sugar from the diabetes, from the being overweight, she died. Ever since I turned 50, I gave up smoking. I got married. I had back surgery. I had a knee replacement. I got divorced. I moved here from up north. I was put on thyroid medication. I got a new job. And I just cannot lose the weight. Something that used to be so easy seems so difficult. I hate the way I look. I hate the way I feel. I hate the way others look at me. I won't wear any tight shorts, tight pants. I mean, it's affecting my life, my happiness. And I'm just not getting any help when I go into the doctors and the offices and they give me a sheet of paper that tells me to eat better and exercise. And I do. Nobody spends more time doing it than me. I've lost more weight than 10 people put together, and I found it each time. I've tried diets and injections and crazy pills that I bought over the counter. I've listened to every one of Dr. Oz's weight loss programs. I got the book, the Sugar Belly Cure. Jorge Cruz. What a book. I know all about the Mediterranean diet. I know about keto. I've been on the caveman primal man diet, eating nothing but bone broth. and I can't seem to change this. And I don't know why. I eat really good. My day starts out with cereal in the morning. And I usually have a nice big cup of coffee. And then I skip lunch. I just don't have time to eat. And I don't want to eat because I know it's making me heavy. So around 2 or 3, I'm starting to crash. So I have another coffee. In fact, I'll drink coffee all day. I know it's not good for me, but what else, I don't want to, I just can't take the time to eat. I'm so busy at work. I'm so busy with my family. I'm so busy driving. And whenever I do need something, I will just run in and grab something fast, some fast food. Do you know it's cheaper for me to eat fast food than it is to buy food of quality? So why would that be? Why is there so much fast food everywhere if it's bad for me? I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me. I have a hot date next month, and I don't know what to do. I need to tighten and tone, but I don't have time to hit the gym and exercise. Maybe I'll just go and buy a new some shapewear. The new girdles, put underneath my clothing, push it all in. I'm not making fun of this. My name is Dr. Tread Rissacker, but this is the things I hear and the consultations I do in the office all the time. It is absolutely amazingly frustrating because there's just not a lot of consistent, concise information. Although it's there, it's just not, nobody's really assimilating it yet. We're still in the information age. We need to put in the wisdom age. That means you've had experience and time over it. I struggle with my own weight loss. This is Dr. Tread talking, and I found solution with the laser. Silly, crazy laser. I never would have believed it myself. An estimated 80 million Americans go on a diet every year. 95% of those who diet will fail to lose weight. That's not me. That's just a statistic. I didn't make that up. That's the truth. And of the 5% that are successful, 80% will gain it back in 2 years or less. There's an old saying, if it were easy, then everyone would be doing it. Well, it isn't that easy, or everyone would be doing it. If losing weight were easy, then America would be winning. Instead, we're losing. We're losing the fat losing game. We are now normal weight, but belly fat. This is a new trend. I was just watching on the internet today and was reading some articles on it, and it's called normal weight, but being obese. Having obesity, but being normal weight. And normal weight is the average of your age, your gender, your height. And when you put in those numbers, you come up with what they could consider an average weight. So they had one woman who was over about 20 pounds overweight for her age and weight, age and gender, and she lost the weight. And when she went on the machine, she found out that she was still 34% obese, even though she dropped her weight down to 140. And yet looking at her, she didn't appear to be obese. And then she found out her lean muscle mass had decreased. And when she did her weight loss, she didn't strengthen the muscles at the same time. All she did was lose weight, which many of you out there are doing. You think that all you have to do is eat less and you will lessen body fat. You'll lose weight, but you don't always get rid of fat. That's the problem. So her 34% body fat, even though she was of a normal weight compared to her age and her gender and her height, she had to do something more than just lose weight. And it included rigorous resistive training, exercise, weight training. It took her 5 months to 6 months to build the muscle tone necessary to increase her muscle mass and decrease the body fat. And at the same time, she gained an extra 15 pounds, but she was healthy. So healthy fat is about 20% of your weight should be fat. It's not how much you weigh on the scale, it's the percentile of your fatty compartment should be about 20 to 25% max, and the 75% should be lean muscle mass. So if you weigh 100 pounds, 20 pounds can be fat. The rest is considered lean muscle according to the machines we use. And, so lean muscle means muscle, bone, water, everything else that's not fat. If you're 200 pounds, you should have 40 pounds of fat, and the rest is lean muscle. You could be 300 pounds, have a 20% of your body fat, or be 20, 40, 60 pounds of fat, and all the rest lean muscle, and you are a very healthy, strong 300-pound person. It's not about the scale, although it does count. It is about the percentage of muscle tone that you have compared to the amount of fat percentages you're carrying around. And guess what? You can't do that without a machine. You can't calculate that accurately without going to a doctor or going to a weight loss place that understands BMI and BMR training. BMI is your body mass index. Pretty easy to figure that out. But your BMR is your resting caloric intake, how many calories you're burning at rest. If you have a low BMR, you have low muscle tone and high body fat. If you have a very high BMR, then you have good muscle tone and low body fat. Muscles burn fat, burn energy. Fat does not burn fat. Does not, it's inactive. It's just storage. So to lessen your body fat percentage, you need to increase your muscular tonicity. And you got to do that by resistive weight exercises where you put some weight on your body to strengthen muscles. Just walking the bridge is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against exercise, but it's not going to put the muscle on that's necessary once you're over 50 years old. Once you hit 50, your hormones change. If you're a man, your testosterone starts to drop down. If you're a female, you go into menopause. Progesterone starts to go away, and you become what we call estrogen dominant. An estrogen dominant female who's over 50 is going to start to gain fat around her midsection, in her hips and belly. A man who's over 50, who goes through what they call andropause, which is the male sex hormone, instead of menopause, it's called andropause. Some people call it the midlife crisis. They go out and buy a new convertible. They get a new wife. Get rid of all the kids, move off to Mexico. Men will do that crazy stuff instead of just losing weight, getting stronger. And andropause is when your testosterone starts to decrease, test, as they call it. And as a result of it, you become feminized. You look more feminine. It's amazing how it happens. I just did a consultation this week, and person was in his 64 years old, had a tummy tuck years back because of a massive weight loss, dropped 140 pounds by eating less, and ended up with a huge amount of loose skin, had the skin removed about 10 years ago, and now all the fat is relocated in his upper chest. And it looks very bizarre because you can see that it's not muscular. The waist the fat was sucked, the skin was cut away, and right above the rib cage, up under the arms, around the chest, they were just like gynecomastia. They were looked like a female. If you cut that person off from his neck down and it just looked at that one spot, you'd think it was a girl. And let me tell you, exercises and diet's not going to change that. You need help. You need outside help. That's what the laser does. We can help these abnormal accumulations or normal accumulation of subcutaneous fat, surface fat, the stuff that collects under your chin, the stuff that hangs under your arms when you hold your arms out. Call them muffin tops if you're a female, that spills out over your pants when you put your jeans on or your pants, and it bulges out. That's called a muffin top. And a man, it's called a love handle. They seem to get very prominent, a little higher. If you were to reach your hand back and put your hand kind of on your hips, that's the area for the love handles. It's an accumulation of excessive, dangerous, stubborn subcutaneous fat. And you also get the lower abdomen, the pouch, the hanging that hangs down over the belt. These subcutaneous fat deposits are subcutaneous. They're outside fat. They do not respond very well to diet and exercise. Now, you might question that because there's always people out there that can do it. But for most of us, we can't. So you might be that 2% or 10%. I don't even think it's that high. My God. And I always say that because there's always a gentleman in any lecture I do, and he'll stand up and say, I disagree with that. I'm 74 years old and look at my stomach. It's like a rock. I do 50 sit-ups a day and I've been doing them since I got out of the military. How many of you want to do that? Not too many, right? He still does the when he does his bed sheet, he still does the coin drop test to see if the coin drops on top of it, like he did in the Marine Corps. That's not for everybody, though, obviously. So, I've been watching this and observing this. I'm a great observer of people, and as a doctor of chiropractic, a licensed healthcare provider, I have the credentials and the license to actually do something about it. I can intervene and I can sit down with somebody and go through their health history and make recommendations and look at their lives with the intelligence that only a doctor carries, with the education that we have, and give you the best possible scenarios, suggestions, tools, program, plan to help you to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. It might be weight loss. It could be body sculpting. It might be that you want to try to reverse diabetes like me. That's what made me lose weight. I got type 2 diabetes. I got it. I couldn't believe it. I study this stuff. I treat patients with it. I know all about it. I could write a book on it, for crying out loud. I didn't even know I had it. I thought it was exercising too much, so I'm thirsty all the time. I'm just hot. I'm getting older. It must be hormones are changing, why I'm always tired. And then I got the neuropathy in my foot, my left foot, 7 years ago, like a knife, like a hot poker in the instep of my foot, in the arch. I thought something was in my shoe. I thought a nail had come up through the shoe and hit me. Took my shoe off, nothing. I couldn't believe it. And it was like my toes and that left foot kind of cramped. So I thought it was coming from my back, be honest with you. I thought it was a sciatic nerve injury or an old injury in my ankle from when I twisted it. I never thought it was high blood sugar creating that problem in my foot. So if you wonder what's going on and you think you don't have the training, it's really not about that. I needed somebody to tell me. I just couldn't believe it. I just refused to believe I had diabetes. And as that condition subsided somewhat, the sharp pain went away, and I treated it with a deep tissue laser. I'm a laser guy. I treat lasers in the office, and I use that laser on my foot. And after 5 or 10 treatments or so on the foot, the pain subsided enormously. And I thought, man, I'm good, but I was still left with some residual numbness in that left big toe. And 2 years later, boom, I have my diabetic onset. I mean, I am like miserable. My blood sugar's high. I am urinating 3-4 times a night. I'm voiding. I get up. I can't quench my thirst. Don't want to, it was terrible. And I knew at that point, this was blood sugar. And I went I went over to Walgreens, and listen, I highly suggest you do this. If you're wondering now, I want to give you a very sombering statistic. If you live in America, and there's about 350 million of us that live in America, half of you right now, if you're an adult, half of you have high blood sugar and you don't know it. That's right. It doesn't mean you're diabetic yet, but you're pre-diabetic and you're heading towards diabetes like me. And what happened was I went down for $30 and bought a blood glucose meter. And of course the little strips are a little bit more money than that, but I got this blood glucose meter and I checked my blood sugar. And I remember, man, this was like in February of 2012. And when I read that blood sugar, it said 400. And I was like, had to go online. I was like, what does it mean when your blood sugar says 400? You know what it said? Go to the hospital.
Yikes.
Yeah. 500 is like, you could die. And I'm like, all right, then wait a second. Had to be calibrated differently. You know, a lot of these glucose meters, they used to be where they had to do like a calibration. I thought that set me on my journey of coming to understand and accept that I've got type 2 diabetes, that it's something that I didn't plan it. I didn't really, it is what it is. What can I say? And it has been that was over 5 years ago, and I'm still dealing with it. I lost weight. I look better. I feel better. My blood sugar has been under control for at least 3 to 4 years since that onset. It was managed better when I lost the weight. I was able to, when I had the weight on, I was 265 pounds in 2012. And there was no way could I control my blood sugar, even with medication, because of the weight. As I lost the weight, and I did it using my laser and a food plan, which is what I offer at my spa, the exact same thing. Hey, I've done it myself. You can believe me. It works. That's all I got to say about that. I love when people call me online. They said, does it really work? No, it doesn't really work. I've only been doing this for 11 years and 5,000 people. And, you know, we're fooling them all. Right? Not. So as a result of that, losing those inches and then doing the weight loss, I felt compelled to share the story with other people, to share my experience, what happened to me, how I got caught blindsided by this diabetes onset, and then what I've done to correct it, and then my path of doing that. And I think I've done a really good job. And whenever I meet people at these lectures that I do, and people come into my spa, I see a lot of people that are borderline diabetic or with diabetes trying to get some help with metabolic syndrome. It really amazes me how little they understand about food and about diet. You know, I was reading of a doctor who was at a hospital, and there was a person was going in for amputation of their foot from diabetes. There was several people that were scheduled for the diabetic consultations, you know, for the diabetes amputation. And he said that when he spoke to them about their habits at the hospital, they were given cereal and empty carbohydrates for breakfast and lunch before they went in for the procedure. Think about that. Think about that. These are the medical professionals, the hospital. The person is dying from diabetes, from high blood sugar, totally caused by empty carbs, carbohydrate type calories, breads and pastas and starches, and of course in large amounts, not small amounts. And this person is being fed that the morning of their surgery. You know, you just can't leave it up to them. They're not going to tell you that, they're going to do what's easiest. It's really hard to give a diet that's low in carbohydrates. It means it's high in protein and high in fresh vegetables. And most people, or a lot of people, don't like vegetables. It's that simple. They like the sugar. They like cookies and cakes and pies and you name it. All right. So we're going to come back. I'm going to go over exactly I realize this. We're going to go over about alcohol this week. Alcohol is a big issue over the next couple weeks. We got Christmas, we got New Year's, and alcohol does not make you fat unless you drink a lot. And I'm going to go over exactly what that means. I'm going to go over some of the most common drinks that you're drinking and how much sugar is contained in those drinks. I have a list here. It's called How to Get Drunk, Not Fat. That's what it says. It's off the website, Get Drunk, Not Fat. And it has a listing of some of the most common drinks and their caloric amounts, and you might be interested to find out about this, okay?
All right.
So we'll be right back.
Now back to Stuart Laser Talk here on WSTU 1450. And back to your host, Dr. Tred J. Rosacker.
Hey, welcome back. Slim Body Laser Spa here. I'm located at 2311 Southeast Ocean Boulevard. That is right across the street from the Fresh Market, next to Carmela's Pizza Restaurant right here in Stuart. Our phone number is 772-223-5885. My website is Dr. Tred's SlimBodyLaserSpa.com. You can also just put in drtred.com and you'll come up with all kinds of videos, and you'll see my website. I have a Facebook account, a YouTube account, a Twitter account, a LinkedIn account, you name it. I got it. I got videos about the procedure. I have a contact page. There's radio show podcasts. I'm really working hard on getting all these radio shows on my podcast. The way that they get embedded is changed. I'm in there studying about it, trying to figure it out. They changed some of the graphics. So yes. Anyway, it's the story of my life. There's also
Constant change.
30 video testimonials, and the truth is you don't really have to do any of that. Just believe me that I know what's going on. You know, you can trust in the doctor and his experience. And, you know, your results and response has a lot to do with your own will, your own desire to make things better. I was going through some Facebook comments, and there's one client keeps on commenting, it's overrated, you know, and I went through the records, and it wasn't for that person. It was somebody that they knew. And this guy had a huge eating problem. And the records document consistent failures to follow the food plan and missing visits. And then, of course, they try to throw it back on the office saying it was, it didn't work for them. It was overrated. Well, maybe they need to be locked up. That'd work in a rehab. Anyway, enough of that one. You can tell I had a good day this morning, cutting out comments on my Facebook. Who needs it? How long does it take? What results can I expect? Where does the released fat go? Is it permanent? How much does it cost? How many areas can you treat? I'm on medication. Can I still do the procedure? Are there any side effects or risks? How does this compare to Cool Sculpting or Safe Sculpt? Well, you won't die. That's the first thing. You won't have any burns or any kind of injuries. Are your lasers FDA cleared or approved? Yes, they are FDA cleared. Who needs it? Anybody that has extra fat or wants to body sculpt. How long does it take? 3 times a week for 3 weeks. It's 9 sessions in 3 weeks. What results can I expect? You can expect a 3 to a 9-inch reduction around your midsection, 2 to 3 inches off your arms, 5 inches off a thigh. Depends on how much fat you have, of course. Where does the released fat go? We move it into the system using whole body vibration, and then you burn it as energy. So the fat, which is locked up in the fat cell, the laser releases the fat, and then you burn it as energy over the next day. So you don't eat 2 hours before the laser or 2 hours after. And that's how it works. Is it permanent? Yes and no. Is life, you can overeat yourself and get it back again, but we work hard on giving you a nutritional plan, giving you tools, and also having an alumni program for those of you who just can't change. So it is permanent for many of you. How much does it cost? Our 9-session plan in 3 weeks costs $2,800. It's completely, there are no other charges, there are no other upsells. That includes the measurements, the pictures, a 3-inch loss guarantee, 9 sessions on the laser, whole body vibration. It includes the nutritional supplements necessary to help with detoxification. And there's also a 3-visit signing bonus. Yeah. So it's $2,800. And I'll tell you, it's cheap. If you really look at the results we're getting and the time we spend, it's a no-brainer. What areas can you treat? If you can get it on the machine, we can treat it. Chins, arms, stomachs, side, hips, back fat, bra bulges, cankles, bat wings. I'm on medication. Can I still do the procedure? Heck yeah. That's why you need to do the procedure. Get you off that medication. You probably put on the meds because of your body fat so high. All right. Hey, I got that. I can see this. The flash came through. What about the alcohol, Doc? Talk about the alcohol. Okay. So here's the deal. This is a story from Huffington Post, and I'm just going to read a little bit about the initial part because it kind of sets it up what she's talking about. So here she is. She says, I was driving along in my car listening to, I won't go there, shaking my head at the reports, and that would be NPR, shaking my head at the reports on Afghanistan and the economy, when suddenly I was assaulted with the worst news ever. Having a mere 3 ounces of alcohol, and this was an author of a diet book, reduces fat burning by about 1/3. Now, if there's 2 things I love in life, it's drinking wine and burning fat. Hearing they were in opposition was like when I heard we're splitting up. How could you choose between the two when they're both so delightful? The author continued, if you're trying to lose weight, you probably need to stop drinking alcohol. If you booze, you don't lose. Well, let me straighten this out. Okay. So here it is. Beer is among the top 10 energy sources of Americans. Did you know that? Beer is consumed to be one of the top 10 energy sources for Americans. And that's right up there with soda, donuts, cheese spread, and corn chips. And no, I'm not making that up. So you can equate drinking a beer with drinking a soda or eating donuts or a cheese spread. In fact, it's the top 10 energy source that Americans choose when they want energy. Since the majority of Americans need to lose weight, Last count, 75% of us are overweight or obese, and health officials are always looking for reasons to tell people to stop drinking. And please don't drink if you're pregnant, and don't drink if you have breast cancer. Don't drink and drive, and on and on. Wouldn't we have heard by now if Bud Light were some evil fat-storing demon food stuff? Bud Light make you fat? That makes you light. And beyond that, moderate drinking is linked with lower risk for heart disease and diabetes. And moderate drinking can actually help levels of good HDL cholesterol. How could it do that and be working overtime at the same time to make you fat? So I want to let you, and I'm going to go over this a little bit about how alcohol affects your figure, depends on your genetics, your diet, your gender, and your habits. How alcohol affects you depends on your genetics, the food you eat, your diet, whether you're male or female, and your overall habits. So this is what happens to your body when you drink alcohol. When you drink alcohol, it is broken down into acetate, which is basically vinegar, which the body will burn before any other calorie you've consumed or stored, including fat or even sugar. Let me repeat that. When you drink alcohol, it's broken down into something that's basically like vinegar. The body will burn that calorie before fat or even sugar. So if you drink and consume more calories than you need, you're more likely to store the fat from the Cheez Whiz you ate and the sugar from the Coke you drank, because your body is getting all of its energy from the alcohol in the beer you just sucked down. Further, studies show that alcohol temporarily inhibits what they call lipid oxidation. In other words, when alcohol is in your system, it's harder for your body to burn fat that's already there. Since eating fat is the most metabolically efficient way to put fat on your body, you actually only use a small amount of calories when you turn excess carbohydrates and proteins into body fat. It doesn't take much energy, but excess fat slips right into your saddlebags. No costume change necessary. Hypothetically speaking, following a high-fat, high-alcohol diet would be the easiest way to put on weight. This does not mean that you cannot drink moderately and lose weight. It's just when alcohol is in your system, it's harder for your body to burn the fat that's already there. Wow. So alcohol is not a diet food. A 5-ounce glass of wine has 150 calories. A 1.5-ounce shot of vodka or 12 ounces of light beer has 100 calories. For every drink you have to subtract something else from your diet or log another mile on the treadmill or risk becoming fat. Further, people eat about 30% more food when they consume alcohol, possibly because alcohol interferes with your feeling satiated, or simply because it makes your judgment fuzzier about whether or not you should have a second helping of donuts or those potato skins or those chicken wings. For every drink you have to subtract something else from your diet or log another mile on the treadmill. When you look at the epidemiological data, alcohol consumption does not seem to correlate with excess weight gain among women. Numerous studies have found that women who are light drinkers tend to have a more stable and lower body mass index over time than their non-drinking, heavy drinking counterparts. The same does not appear to be true for men, who seem to steadily gain weight with increasing alcohol consumption. You have to take the data with a grain of salt. It could be said that women who drink moderately have lots of other healthy habits that keep their weight in check despite of their drinking. 12 ounces of light beer is 100 calories. So what I want to summarize this for you. Here's a fact, okay? What they found out is that anyone who's a moderate drinker of alcohol is considered 3 drinks of alcohol or less per day, every day. Okay, now to me, that's a pretty heavy drinker.
Yeah, that's a moderate drinker.
That's a moderate drinker. And there is absolutely no proof or any data which shows that moderate alcohol consumption leads to weight gain. That doesn't mean that they don't gain weight. I'm just telling you the alcohol is not a factor. Now, if anybody drinks more than three to five drinks a day, that's considered a heavy drinker, and they make fat because the liver starts to malfunction because of the liver, and they will create weight gain because they're drinking so much. Now, what they found to be true of moderate alcohol drinkers, people that drink 3 glasses or less per day, is that they overeat more than somebody who doesn't drink. In other words, the habits associated with being so social with alcohol, they stop exercising as much. They have a tendency of eating the wrong kinds of foods. They're more social. They're out at night. They're not getting enough sleep because they're more social. People that drink alcohol will have a tendency of being more social if it's moderate. And this has more of and they rarely. So if you're drinking 600 extra calories a day because you had 3 drinks, which are 200 calories each, and that's 600 calories, and you eat your normal amount, those 600 calories are going to be extra calories. So it's like eating 3 ice creams or 3 donuts or 3 cheese whizzes on top of your normal intake. And that's why you get fat. You're eating too many calories. So if you're going to drink alcohol this holiday, you need to look at how often are you doing it, and you have to eat a little bit less the same day that you drink. And that's a fact. So let's look at, so most alcohol is about 100 calories per, it's pure ethanol, which is 238 calories per 1.5 ounces. Okay. And that means over 200 calories in an ounce of alcohol, an ounce and a half of alcohol. An ounce of Jose Cuervo is 96 calories. An ounce of Crown Royal is 96 calories. A light beer is between 150 to 200 calories. A glass of red wine has more calories than a glass of white wine because of the sugar content. It's grape juice, and there's more in the red wines than there is in the white wines. So any kind of drink that's mixed with juices, creams, flavors, sodas, those mixers create more calories than the alcohol. So you want to lay off on those big foo-foo drinks, the Mai Tais, the Hurricanes, the drinks. And, if you want to get drunk, just have a shot of vodka with a little bit of club soda and a little twist. That's about 100 calories. Okay, that's not too bad. You could have 5 of those, get quite inebriated, and 5 shots of vodka, I know would put me under.
Mm-hmm.
And you've only had 500 calories.
That's
bad. Doable. If you drink 5 beers, you're over, 1,000 to 1,200 calories on 5 beers. So it's about calories, everybody. It really is. It's about calories. How about that, huh? So I hope you got a little out of that, a little knowledge from that, little explanation. It sure worked for me. I haven't had a drink in 15 years, so it's not a problem in my life. So, but I'm okay with that. It works for me. It's not for everybody. All right. So let me go over this a little bit about the laser and how it works. And I'm looking for my little sheet of paper here, which gives me my my outline. I know it's here somewhere. There it is. If you failed at weight loss and you're exercising and dieting and are having difficulty losing the fat, then you should give my office a try. My laser program is a non-surgical, painless procedure with no downtime at all. In 9 30-minute sessions, spaced out 3 times per week for 3 weeks, you could lose 3 to 9 inches of stubborn belly fat, just like I did. If you need help with weight loss, as most of us do, we can help you there also. This program is for men and women. Call my office, tell them you heard from me on the radio, and you wish to come in for a free laser-assisted weight loss consultation. The sooner you call, the sooner you can begin to lose fat and reclaim your life once more. I really, truly hope to hear from you soon. Now, one of the issues here we get a lot of is, am I a good candidate? You know, I'm on medications. Now, you know, weight loss, the only medications that we would really be concerned about would be if you were had active cancer and you were on some kind of chemo, and that drug would not be indicated when you're trying to lose weight. There are certain medications like things that would affect your liver or your kidneys. That might be a problem. But for the most part, you know, the medications you're being put on for a lot of us are due to the weight gain. You know, when you start to gain weight and the heart has to start pumping harder to get the blood through the body, your pressure goes up. 1 pound of fat equals 1 mile of blood vessels to support it. 1 pound of fat means you have to support it with 1 mile of blood vessels. So you got 10 extra pounds, you got 10 miles of extra blood vessels that the heart has to move the blood through, and the heart has a mandate to get the blood through the body every minute completely. So the pressure goes up. Your blood pressure goes up. And then the body, you know, then you go to your doctor and he checks your blood pressure. He says, wow, you've got hypertension. Well, what does that mean, doc? That means your blood pressure is high. Well, why, doc? We don't really know exactly why. And it really is not a matter to us. We can give you medicine to lower your blood pressure. That sounds good. I'd like to get my pressure to be lower, and I really don't want to make any other changes. So give me the drugs. And that's what we get a lot of people. One of the problems with drugs are they work. They really work, yet they don't really fix the underlying cause of the problem. And that's a problem, in my opinion. That could be a real problem. So medicine is so common to be prescribed for symptoms of lifestyle problems. These are lifestyle problems. In other words, you made the choice to eat the food. You made the choice to not exercise for most of you out there. And as a result of that lack of exercise and lack of good eating habits, you have developed symptoms that show up on blood work and on a medical exam. Now, one of the first things that will show up from not eating properly, eating too much, and not exercising is you're going to have high cholesterol. Okay? And cholesterol will become elevated. As well, blood triglycerides. That would be the fatty acid, you know, in your bloodstream. And the other part that happens as the cholesterol goes up and the triglycerides go up is your LDL and HDL numbers crash. So HDL is the good one and LDL is the bad one. And this will change. When I had my blood work done and the only thing I had was I was overweight because I wasn't eating better and exercising enough, my blood chemistry profile for body fat was the only parameters I had that were high: cholesterol, triglycerides, and blood sugar. Of all the other ones, my kidney was good, liver was good, you know, all my numbers were fine except for that. And that one issue caused me to pay more for my life insurance. I remember it 15 years ago because I had high cholesterol that ended up jacking up my rate as a result of that. And I'm like, wow, I guess I could lose the weight, save some money. I didn't. It took me a little longer before I did it. And that's why I'm sharing this story with you. So maybe we can have you avoid what happened to me, Dr. Tread. And so these medications that we're being put on are really, they fix the symptom. They're treating that high blood sugar, or they're treating the high blood pressure, or they're lowering the cholesterol number. But it is a false truth. It's not really going to correct the problem if it's coming from eating bad and not exercising. So I think that it should be mandatory that before anybody's put on medication more than 2 or 3 months, they have to commit to an exercise program and eating better to be eligible to take the medication. Because if you're not making those changes and you're still overweight and you're not exercising and now you're on metformin, as Dr. Honor told me very seriously, he said, Doc, he said, metformin and glipizide force sugar into the cell. Your body is telling you, I can't take any more sugar, dude. I'm overwhelmed. You're eating the wrong foods. And if you keep doing this, I'm going to turn into as big as a castle. And thus your insulin's not working. The insulin is a protection by the body to stop you from putting so much in. And then you take metformin and glipizide, and that forces the sugar into the cell. How long is that going to be okay? For temporary, it's okay. But long-term, over time, you got to find the solution, people. Please, you got to get out and get there and try to find a solution. Make a move. Prioritize this, because if you continue to live on those meds, it doesn't ever really fix the problem, and eventually you will become insulin dependent on it. And that's, I'm fighting that myself. My body fat is down to 24%. I weigh 210 pounds. I was 265. And I'm on 1,000 milligrams of metformin and 5 milligrams of glipizide today. And I'm managing my blood sugar at 110, 120, 90. It's been wonderful. And now what I'm doing is I'm weaning myself from the metformin. I'm going to be dropping down to 500 and then cutting out the glipizide come in January with the help of Dr. Honor. And it's taken me a while to do this, but I know I see enough people that live on these drugs forever, and it's not a way to live. You need to do something along with taking the medicine. That's what I do. My name is Dr. Tread Rissacker. I'm located in Stewart on East Ocean Boulevard. It's called Slim Body Laser Spa. Come in. I can help you. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.